Hi 106, this is week 10 and we are moving into major scales for group 1. We have 12 major scales in our 12 keys and we'll end up with 7 fingerings that we need to learn for these major scales by the time we're through 108. Here in 106 we are going to learn group 1 and 2. Group 1 is what we're concentrating on today, and group 1 are the keys of C, G, D, A, and E. So those first 5 keys around the circle of fifths. This is the only group where all 5 scales share the exact same fingering, so that's a nice thing to have in group 1. So as we learn this fingering, my best advice to you is to memorize it as fast as you can. This is in your book. They are written out on pages 124, 125, the top of 126. Please use that only as a reference. When you're practicing, you're going to learn them much more thoroughly if you are watching a fingering that's written out, not notes, and watching your hands. The key to learning the fingering is watching what the movement is and what the correlation is between the two hands. When you're learning scale fingerings, no matter what the scale, there are 2 rules that you can count on. The first rule is that the fingerings are always in an adjacent pattern. So for instance, I'm never going to have a fingering that would go 5, 4, 2 and purposely skip over a finger. Yes, you may have times when you have to cross over to a finger in the middle of your hand, or you might tuck underneath after you've not completed a hand. But within those segments, it's always an adjacent number. The second thing that holds true for all 12 of your scales is that you're never going to find a thumb or a 5th finger on a black key. So if you're figuring out a fingering silently in preparation for an exam and you figure out what you think is the fingering and you're ending up with a thumb or 5 on the black key, go back and double check. Something is wrong. So for C, G, D, A, and E, here's the fingering. Let's take a look at that right hand first. So the right hand thumb's going to start on C, 2, 3. I'm then going to tuck my thumb underneath, and I've got 4 more notes to get up to tonic. So 2, 3, 4. If I was doing 1 octave, I would end on a 5. For your proficiency and in our bookwork, you are required to do 2 octaves. So that's why I have you tucking to the thumb again so that you can do another octave. When you are tucking that thumb, the thumb is passing underneath the hand. It's landing on the side, so that it's a connected sound. You should not be playing 3 notes, picking up your hand and moving it. It needs to be a continuous sound so that each one of those notes is like a pearl on a necklace. They are all connected. So it's that seamless passing underneath the thumb. So if I take this right hand and I put it into use, 1, 2, 3, tuck your thumb, 2, 3, 4, here's the next octave. So 5 if I was going to end, thumb tuck to continue. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now coming down, the exact same finger is on the key that was going up. They're very efficient if you think of it in this way. Here's my thumb. How many keys left till tonic? 3. So I'm crossing with a 3. When your thumb is on tonic, you are always going to cross with a 4. That's a good little trick to remember. Thumb, 3 to get me down to tonic, and then I'm home. Left hand follows a similar pattern. I'm going to walk up to my thumb. Think about how many notes do you have left till tonic? 3, and that's why it crosses with a 3. Fingerings, believe it or not, are very efficient. And again, if you're watching your hand, watching the placement, they make sense. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, don't pick up your hand and move it. We need to connect them like a necklace. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 3 notes to tonic, so over with a 3. 2, 1. My thumb's on tonic, so if I'm going to continue another octave, we just said that if a thumb's on tonic, the cross is always a 4. 3, 2, 1. How many fingers till tonic? 3, 2, 1. Here's my left hand. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I need a 3 because there's 3 notes to tonic. When your thumb is on tonic, it's always a 4. There's 3 notes till tonic. Here I am. Now, it's a little harder going down. Think about, where was your thumb? It was on G and I need to hang on and wait for tonic. And it was on G, and that walks me all the way down home. So spend at least 3 days with your hands separate, memorizing that scale fingering. You can take it then to G, to D, to A, and to E. If I'm moving to D, the first step I would do would be to put my hands in a tetrachord like we did 2 weeks ago. Tonic, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And look at where those accidentals are. Because when you're in the midst of a fingering, believe it or not, it's going to be easier and more accurate to think about the placement. It's the first of each group of black keys rather than thinking F sharp, C sharp. Once you're ready to put your hands together, the key is looking at how they relate to each other. Thinking letter names really isn't going to do you much good, but thinking about who's playing or who's lining up together is. And if you have what I like to call a mantra that you're saying as you're walking along, you will be able to keep your place. Here's what I suggest that you say. So we're starting on tonic. I'm stepping up. I have matching threes. My right thumb tucks, then my left thumb tucks. Threes together, step up, and I'm home. I then would do that again for that second octave. Step up, matching threes. Right thumb, left thumb, matching threes, up, and there I am at home at the top. When you're putting your fingering together, I would practice first, not on the keys. If you can do this and say that pattern, tonic, up, threes, right thumb, left thumb, threes, up, tonic, 4, threes, right thumb, left thumb, threes, up, home. Down, threes, left thumb, right thumb, threes, down, tonic, 4, threes, left thumb, right thumb, threes, down, home. If you can do it on a non-plane surface and can speak your way through it, it will be a piece of cake then to take it here and use that same strategy. 4, threes, right thumb, left thumb, threes. Down, threes, left thumb, right thumb, threes. Tonic, 4, threes, left thumb, right thumb, threes, down, home. I would consider writing this in the cover of your book so it's somewhere easy for you to reference. Put down that it's for Group 1 scale, CGDAE. I would mark it with what you're seeing with how the hands align. That is much safer than going by muscle memory or what looks correct. As I said, these are found on 124, 125, 126. The 2 issues I have, number 1 is that people are glued to it and they don't memorize it fast enough and then they're trying to cram fingerings at the end. My second issue is that this book has you put your hands in an extended octave, which I think does not make a lot of sense because it's very hard visually here to watch the coordination between the 2 hands. So if you do like to use this for reference, I would recommend putting your hands 1 octave apart. Notice that the second technique item we have here for Group 1 are arpeggios. So we were doing hand over hand so that we were getting used to seeing what notes we need. But now we're going to take that into 1 hand with the complete fingering. For arpeggios, fingering is a whole lot easier. Here's another little chart. Again, I would recommend writing it in the cover of your book. Fingerings for arpeggios are determined by the color of the root to the color of the third. So if my root is white and my third is white, so for instance a C major arpeggio, C is white, E is white, or a G major arpeggio, G is white, B is white. My right hand is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 5. Just like a scale, that thumb passes underneath and connects. It's a connected string, not a broken string. There's a broken string. We don't want that. We want a connected sound. Notice that the same fingers playing the same note. Thumbs are playing the C's, 2 are playing the E's, 3 are playing the G's. Some people like to use that. 2E, 3G, 2E, 3G to keep track of where they are. For the left hand, for white to white, you have 5, 4, 2, 1. So when I'm looking at arpeggios, they're always going to start with a 5, and they're always going to have a 2 on the 5th and a thumb on the tonic. 3 and 4 are a choice. White to white is going to be 5, 4. That is more anatomically in line with that white to white spacing on our keyboard. So 5, 4, 2, 1. Notice when we go to a white to black. So for instance, D major, white root, black third. A major, white root, black third. E major, white root, black third. Then I'm going to a 3 in the middle. So let's try D major. So 5, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. And again, like scales, it's the exact same fingers going down. On your class day this week, we'll be working through these scales again. We did work through them. I gave you a preview of them this last week. We'll work through them again, and I'll give you some more hints and some more ways that you can incorporate into your practice routines as well. In your book, the pieces that are scalar based are here on page 126 and 127. I encourage you to play it in the key that's given. For instance, number 1, you can see we've got a descending C scale and then an ascending C scale. They suggest transposing it to D. I would take it through all of your group 1 scales, because what a fantastic way to work on both transposing and memorizing and feeling that scale fingering. So you've got a piece here on 1, on number 2, and number 3. And they each have a little bit something different. On number 2, when you're working on the intervals, you can think about the spacing of these intervals. I've got a G scale. So now when I transpose it to F, as they're asking, first take your scale. Get the fingering to work. Then you're also going to have to think about what notes your right hand's going to start on. This was the 3rd and the 5th of a tonic chord. So in the key of F, a 3rd and a 5th of a tonic chord will be the top. And then I'm stepping up, making a 2nd, stepping down. So good exercises for both scale work, scale pieces, and transposing. So use this video. Watch it several times. Use it to help guide you through your scale fingerings and your arpeggio fingerings. Try to get them memorized as fast as you can, because as I said, if you can recite it, if you can play it without pitch, it will be so much easier than when you put the right keys or notes in for the key that you're trying to spell. Good luck.